It's a massive question, isn't it? Did AI just change movies forever? To really get to the bottom of this, we had to design a high-stakes, head-to-head competition. We wanted to see what actually happens when the absolute best of traditional, human-led VFX goes up against the raw, generative power of modern AI. The stakes here are literally the future of how we create media, and let me tell you, the results of this experiment are genuinely mind-bending.
Okay, let's dive right in because this timeline perfectly frames the mystery. Think about this. 30 years ago, when the original Toy Story came out, it took about 7 hours to render just a single frame of animation. Fast forward to 3 years ago with the incredibly high-end visuals of a show like House of the Dragon, and guess what? It still took about 7 hours to render a single frame. That's a shocking stagnation when you realize computers are literally 1,000 times faster today. But then look at where we are now. Today, AI can generate complex video in just 7 seconds. How is that even possible? So, to figure this out, we designed the ultimate test. We're calling it the Icelandic Dragon Challenge. Our totally ambitious goal was to create this breathtaking scene where a person jumps onto a CGI dragon that flies directly through a real-world waterfall. And to do this right, we actually hopped on a plane to Iceland, scouted those incredible ancient-looking landscapes, and found this stunning waterfall that you can actually walk right behind. It was pretty much the perfect real-world canvas for our digital mythical beast.
Section 1. The bottleneck of reality. Let's start by looking at traditional VFX and figure out why, despite having absolute supercomputers on our desks, the filmmaking industry still faces such massive rendering bottlenecks.
So back in the 90s, rendering basically meant breaking geometry down into tiny pieces and manually faking everything. Faking the textures, the shininess, and applying pre-computed shadow maps piece by piece. Today, the process is completely different. Modern rendering relies on ray tracing. We are literally running light simulations that bounce millions of digital light rays around a scene to calculate how actual light would interact with the objects exactly like it does in real life. It looks perfectly, flawlessly realistic, but simulating real-world physics is incredibly computationally heavy.
Which brings us to this mind-blowing number, 12 hours, even for our relatively optimized project. And keep in mind, we aren't even rendering at the absolute insane quality that those massive Hollywood studio blockbusters do. It still took 12 hours to render just a single frame of our dragon. This perfectly illustrates the sheer computational weight of traditional methods. You're simulating reality, and well, reality takes a lot of time to calculate.
Section 2. Crafting traditional visual effects. Because, as you'll see, it's not just about hitting a render button. It's really an intricate dance of manual digital craftsmanship. Just look at the meticulous steps we had to take to build a believable waterfall simulation that our 3D dragon could actually interact with. First, we have to precisely track the camera motion from our raw drone footage. Second, we simulate water particles and apply gravity. Third, we have to calculate wind turbulence so things don't look completely static and fake. And fourth, we have to perfectly match the real-world lighting of an overcast Icelandic day.
You know, the really crucial point here is the incredible nuance required. To make this digital waterfall look real, we had to calculate particle density so that dense clumps of water actually dropped faster than the floating solo particles. We even had to add a smoke simulation, using the dragon as the source, just to create air displacement so the waterfall mist would accurately wrap around the dragon's wings as it flew through. We used invisible digital objects. These are known as phantom caves, literally just to cast accurate shadows onto our scene. We even filmed practical green screen elements to composite real human reactions. It is absolute 100% precision control.
Section 3. The AI Challenger enters the arena. We took all that raw footage from Iceland and handed it over to a top-tier AI company, challenging them to create the exact same sequence.
Okay, to understand their approach, we kind of have to demystify what a video-to-video model actually is. Unlike traditional VFX, the AI doesn't simulate light, it doesn't calculate gravity, it has no idea what water density is. It entirely bypasses physics. Instead, it's a neural network trained on millions of videos that simply guesses what the next pixels should look like based on a text or image prompt. It's predicting the image, not simulating the reality.
We really put this to the test with what we ended up calling the reverse waterfall dilemma. See, we had this beautiful drone shot of the waterfall, but the drone was flying backward. In traditional VFX, fixing this meant tracking the shot, stabilizing it, manually rotoscoping out the waterfall, which means cutting it out frame by frame, reversing the footage, and then reapplying the camera motion. It's a massive chore. But the AI? It just used an image-to-video model on the very first frame and prompted the forward motion. Boom! It fixed it almost instantly.
Section 4, the head-to-head showdown. Let's break down the final verdict.
Let's neutrally analyze these side-by-side results. On speed, AI is absolutely the undisputed champion. We're talking seconds per shot compared to hours per frame. But look at consistency. Traditional VFX gave us perfectly locked visuals. The AI, however, suffered from morphing. The dragon's scale kept shifting, looking massive one second and almost like a tiny falcon the next. For realism, traditional was physically accurate, while the AI was occasionally goofy. Though, to be fair, it did add some genuinely cool, unexpected touches, like the dragon dynamically touching the water. But the biggest differentiator? Creative control. VFX is 100% exact. The AI was wildly unpredictable. In one shot, it actually completely replaced the human creator's identity with someone else's entirety. No way around it. That's wild.
But wait, the AI company had one final surprise for us. They submitted a completely original, fully prompted AI video using zero source footage from our Iceland trip. And honestly, it was breathtaking. It was completely generated from scratch, featured genuinely epic cinematic direction, and even had high-quality, perfectly synced sound design. But, and this is a massive catch, it completely failed to match the specific intended creative vision of flying a dragon through that exact Icelandic waterfall we scouted.
And that brings us to the core takeaway of this entire explainer, perfectly summed up right here. AI shines when making things from scratch, but it misses the creative control needed to match a specific human vision. AI is an absolutely incredible tool for raw speed, brainstorming, and generating stunning concepts from a totally blank canvas. But right now, if you have a highly specific, intricate vision in your head that requires exact interactions and perfect consistency, well, it currently lacks the surgical precision of traditional human craftsmanship. So, I want to leave you with this one question to chew on. In a world where the raw, instantaneous speed of AI and the complete, meticulous creative control of traditional VFX are currently at odds, what does the future of filmmaking actually look like? Will AI eventually learn that pinpoint precision, or will traditional VFX pipelines adapt and just integrate neural networks into their workflow? The tools are evolving by the day, and understanding both sides of this showdown is exactly how we stay ahead of the curve. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and keep questioning the incredible technology shaping our world.